You ever been in a moment where everything you thought you knew about someone just flips upside down, like a truck hitting a ditch at full speed? Picture this: a dusty canyon in the middle of nowhere, bullets screaming through the air, a Marine squad pinned down, fighting for their lives, and the one person they least expected, this tiny, quiet medic, grabs a rifle and changes everything. That's the story of Sarah Torres, and trust me, it's one you won't forget. It was a blistering afternoon in Redstone Valley, escorting a supply convoy through a stretch of desert that felt like the edge of hell. The Marines were tense, gripping their M4s, scanning the ridges for trouble. Sarah, this 27-year-old medic with dark hair tied back in a tight bun, was just another face in the dust, small, maybe 5'2", lugging a 40-pound med kit like it was her lifeline. The squad didn't think much of her. To them, she was just Doc, the girl who patched up cuts and handed out bandages, always trailing behind so she wouldn't slow anyone down. They'd mutter behind her back, "She's too small to carry a wounded man." Or, "Why's she even here? She's gonna fold when things get real." Harsh, yeah, but that's how it was. These guys were hardened, trained to see weakness and call it out. Sarah? She just kept her head down, did the grunt work, never complained. The first shots came out of nowhere, cracking like thunder from the hills above. Ambush. Insurgents poured down the slopes, AKs blazing, kicking up dirt and rock around the convoy. The Marines snapped into action, returning fire, dragging cover into place. Sarah dove behind a boulder, clutching her med kit, already pulling a wounded corporal to safety. Her hands were steady, even as blood soaked her gloves, but the squad barely noticed. One of them, a cocky lance corporal named Jake, barked at her through the chaos. "Stay back, Doc. This ain't your fight." Sarah didn't even look up, just kept pressing a bandage into a guy's leg, her face calm, like she'd done this 100 times. Another Marine, a grizzled sergeant named Tom, sneered to his buddy, "She's gonna crack." Medics always do when the shooting starts. But Sarah didn't crack. She moved fast, triaging the wounded, dodging bullets like they were just flies buzzing past. Here's the thing: Sarah wasn't just good at her job. She was too good. The way she worked, it was like she could feel the rhythm of the fight. She'd dart to a casualty before they even hit the ground, like she knew where the next bullet was going to land. Tom, the sergeant, noticed it first. He was bleeding from a shrapnel wound, watching her wrap his arm tight. "You've been in the ship before, haven't you, Doc?" he said, half impressed, half suspicious. Sarah tied off the bandage, didn't meet his eyes, just said, "Some." Then she was gone, moving to the next guy. Tom kept watching her, squinting through the smoke. Something about her didn't add up. She wasn't flinching at the gunfire, wasn't hesitating when rounds snapped past her head. Even veteran medics duck instinctively. Sarah didn't. She moved like the battlefield was her home. The fight got uglier. The insurgents tightened their grip, lobbing grenades, pinning the squad against a crumbling ridge. Radios were down, air support wasn't coming, and the Marines were running low on options. That's when it happened. A grenade exploded near Sarah, flinging her med kit into the dirt. She sprinted out to grab it, ignoring shouts from the squad, "Get down, you're gonna get killed." But then she stopped, her eyes locking on an old M16 lying in the dust, its stock scuffed and worn. For a split second, she froze, like she was staring at a ghost. Then she let her med kit drop. Both hands wrapped around the rifle, and she lifted it to her shoulder with a smoothness that made the whole squad go quiet. Jake, the loudmouth corporal, laughed nervously. "What's this, Doc? You think you're Rambo now? That thing's heavier than you are." Sarah didn't answer. She sighted through the smoke, her breathing steady, and squeezed the trigger. 3 shots, 3 insurgents dropped, clean headshots, no hesitation. The squad froze, jaws open, like they'd just seen a magic trick. Tom, still clutching his bandaged arm, muttered, "That ain't luck." The squad leader, a no-nonsense captain named Reynolds, narrowed his eyes. "Who the hell are you, Torres?" From that moment, the pieces started falling into place. The way Sarah held the rifle, not like some weekend shooter, but like it was an extension of her body. Her stance, her trigger control, the way she scanned the ridgeline, it screamed training, years of it, the kind you don't get in basic. Whispers spread through the squad. "She's got to be prior service," one guy said. "No way a medic shoots like that." Another, a sniper named Diaz, stepped closer, watching her reload. That grouping, he said, almost to himself. Where'd you learn to shoot like that, ma'am? Sarah kept bandaging a wounded Marine, her voice flat. Basic training. Diaz snorted. That ain't basic. That's Tier 1 marksmanship. The insurgents weren't letting up. They pushed harder, machine guns hammering the squad's position. Sarah didn't hesitate. She slid behind a rock, her rifle up, and dropped the gunner at 500 yards with a single shot. Then another, a sniper hidden in the rocks, one the squad hadn't even seen. Reynolds, the captain, stared at her. How'd you spot him? He was invisible. Sarah chambered a fresh round, her voice calm but sharp. You learn to see what others miss. When Reynolds pressed, where'd you learn that? She didn't answer, just kept firing, every shot landing like it was guided by a laser. Diaz, the sniper, wasn't letting it go. He'd seen enough. Ma'am, your trauma care, that's not med school. That's battlefield surgery. And the way you move. You've been in deeper shit than this. Sarah tightened a tourniquet on a Marine's leg, her face unreadable. Experience teaches, she said, dodging the question. But the truth was piling up, impossible to ignore. Her medical skills were too advanced, her tactical sense too sharp, her shooting too perfect. Reynolds cornered her during a lull in the fight, his voice low. Torres, your file says you're just a medic, but what I'm seeing says something else. What's the real story? Sarah checked her rifle's magazine, her eyes distant. Sometimes files don't tell the whole truth. What's hidden? He pushed. Before she could answer, the insurgents hit again, harder than before. Sarah was everywhere now, firing, patching wounds, barking orders to reposition the squad. She wasn't just keeping up, she was running the show. She'd fire a burst, drag a wounded Marine to cover, then snap back to her rifle without missing a beat. One of the younger Marines, barely 20, whispered to his buddy, I've seen medics. None of them do this. She's running the whole damn fight. His buddy, patching a graze on his arm, nodded. Triage, tactics, sniper shots, how's that even possible? The truth came out in the heat of the fight. The insurgents launched their biggest push yet, heavy weapons rolling in, the squad on the brink of being overrun. Sarah's eyes flicked across the battlefield, reading it like a chessboard. She shouted to Reynolds, take their machine gun first, then the mortar team. Save their commander for last. Reynolds blinked, realizing she wasn't just advising, she was commanding. And he listened. Her shots broke the enemy's line, knocking out their key positions one by one. The Marines followed her lead, and for the first time, they weren't just surviving, they were winning. Then it happened. An insurgent grenade landed too close, and Sarah's med kit was gone again, shredded in the blast. She didn't hesitate. She grabbed the M16, checked the chamber, and went to work. The squad was pinned, taking heavy fire, and Sarah, this tiny woman they'd called a liability, stood up. She fired with a precision that made Diaz, the sniper, shake his head in awe. 700 yards, he muttered. Iron sights. That's not human. An insurgent leader popped up, rallying his men. Sarah dropped him with one shot, clean through the chest. The enemy's morale broke, their attack faltering. Reynolds, now half in shock, grabbed her arm during a brief pause. Torres, level with me. Who are you really? Sarah sighed, pulled off her glove, and showed him her wrist. A faded tattoo, a coiled serpent with crossed daggers, the insignia of the Viper unit, a classified special ops group, disbanded years ago, legendary for missions no one else could pull off. The squad went dead silent. Jake, the cocky corporal, whispered, I've seen that in old files. The 3,000-yard kill in Helmand. That was you. Sarah's eyes were heavy, like she was carrying a decade of ghosts. Another lifetime, she said. She didn't want to talk about it, but the story spilled out. Sarah had been Viper's top sniper, callsign Wraith, known for impossible shots and missions that became myths. But a botched op in Kunduz cost her team their lives, and she walked away, swearing never to pick up a rifle again. She became a medic to save lives, not take them. But Redstone Valley didn't give her a choice. The Marines, the ones who'd mocked her, now looked at her like she was a damn legend. Tom, the sergeant, shook his head. We thought you were dead weight. God, we were wrong. Sarah didn't smile. Apologies don't win fights, she said, squeezing off another shot. Focus on staying alive. The insurgents zeroed in on her now, realizing she was the one turning the tide. They're aiming for you, Diaz warned. Sarah didn't blink. Good. Means they're not shooting at you. She shifted positions, smooth as a shadow, picking a spot with perfect sight lines and cover. Every shot she took was a masterpiece, steady breath, clean trigger pull, no wasted rounds. Diaz watched, almost hypnotized. "You're not just shooting," he said. "You're painting a damn picture out there." Sarah's voice was soft but firm. "It's not about destruction. It's about protecting what matters." The enemy's attack collapsed. Their leaders were gone, their heavy weapons silent, their lines in chaos, all because of Sarah. Reynolds, watching her work, realized something deeper. "You didn't just save our asses," he said. "You saved our mission, our pride, everything." Sarah kept her rifle steady. "That's what medics do. Keep people breathing." "You're no ordinary medic," he said. She met his eyes. "Today, I'm whatever you need me to be. Tomorrow, I'm back to saving lives." When the dust settled, the insurgents were gone, and the convoy was secure. Sarah slung her med kit over her shoulder, already tending to the wounded like nothing had happened. The Marines watched her, their respect absolute. Word spread fast. By the time they got back to base, the story was already a legend. The quiet medic at Outpost Bravo, the one who'd once been the deadliest sniper in Viper Unit. New recruits heard it in hushed tones. "See that woman in the infirmary? She saved a whole squad single-handed. Show respect." Sarah never talked about it. She went back to stacking supplies, training new medics, patching up scrapes. One night, Reynolds found her at her desk, writing reports. "We owe you," he said, his voice thick. "And I'm sorry for how we treated you." Sarah looked up, her face calm. "You didn't know? I didn't want you to. I'm not that person anymore." He sat across from her. "Why'd you walk away from Viper? You were a damn ghost out there." She paused, her pen still. "Because I was tired of being a weapon. I wanted to be someone's salvation. Today, I had to be both." A month later, the squad threw a ceremony for her. Sarah didn't show. "The credit goes to you," she told Reynolds. "I was just doing my job." But her influence stuck. The Marines who dismissed her now asked for her advice, not just on medicine, but on tactics, leadership, what it meant to serve with honor. Jake, the cocky one, came to her one day, head low. "I was an ass," he said. "You're not just a medic. You're something else." Sarah smiled faintly. "I'm just me. And that's enough." Here's the thing about Sarah's story. It's not just about one crazy day in Redstone Valley. It's about the people we overlook, the ones we write off because they don't fit our idea of strength. The janitor who sees what security misses, the nurse who makes life or death calls without blinking, the quiet guy in the back who steps up when the world falls apart. Sarah could have used her past for glory, for a cushy posting, but she chose to stay quiet, letting people misjudge her until the moment they needed her most. And when that moment came, she didn't just save lives, she rewrote what those Marines thought was possible. So what's the lesson here? Don't judge someone by their size, their job, or the way they stay quiet when others run their mouths. The person you least expect might be the one who pulls you through when everything goes to hell. And that's where I want to hear from you. Have you ever underestimated someone who turned out to be a hero? Maybe it was a coworker, a neighbor, someone you pass by every day without a second thought. Drop it in the comments. I want to know your stories. And if this hit you, if it made you think twice about who's standing in the shadows, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to keep these real stories coming. Because people like Sarah, they're out there, waiting for their moment, and their stories deserve to be told.